Welcome to another episode of Human Wreckage. This episode we are talking about Nestor Hernandez. How jealousy and mistrust can ruin lives around you. Maybe Nestor's insecurities should have been checked at the door when he is visiting his newborn. Let's get into it. Dallas, Texas police and the Texas Department of Criminal Justice said Nestor Hernandez was out on parole for aggravated robbery and had an ankle monitor, but he had permission to be at the hospital. But when Hernandez entered Selena Villatoro's room in the hospital's postpartum unit with a beer in hand, she said she became upset. Villatoro said Hernandez seemed intoxicated and began calling his brother and his nieces, telling them he loved them and to be good, all while the couple's newborn son slept in a bassinet in the same room. Hernandez then began opening up the closet door and searching the room, maybe looking for someone he thought was hiding, Villatoro said. She said he threw a table, which spilled his beer, and hit Villatoro in the head with a gun she said she didn't know he had with him. Villatoro said Hernandez told her to stop playing with him and told her they would both die, and so would anyone else who came in the room. Then social worker Jacqueline Pocua came in to perform a routine check on Villatoro. Hernandez walked behind Pocua and shot her. That's when Villatoro said she fully believed Hernandez could kill her. He was just telling me to enjoy the time I had with my son, Villatoro said. Methodist Hospital Sergeant Robert Rangel, who was down the hall, told jurors he thought the initial gunshot was a light bulb bursting. He walked toward the sound to see what was wrong and heard a woman later identified as Villatoro screaming hysterically. Another shot rang out as Rangel and Nurse Katie Annette Flowers approached the room, hitting Flowers. A third shot missed Rangel. He said he watched as Flowers clutched her neck, saying she had been hit, dripping blood on the floor. I told myself if he came out with a pistol, I only had one option, and that was to make sure that he didn't get out past the room with a gun, Rangel said. Rangel then shot Hernandez once in the leg when he appeared in the doorway of Villatoro's room. During a roughly 10-minute standoff with police captured on Rangel's body camera, Hernandez shouts at Villatoro to give him the baby while she cries for him to stop.
What happened?
Hey, watch out, man, watch out.
110 dispatch. You got emergency traffic. I got 1030. A man with a gun up here, 4 single. DPD, I need him out here quick. Dispatch, I believe it's going to be a hostage situation, Sergeant. Room 4006, 4006. Can you cover me? Somebody. We got shield right behind you. Shield behind you.
We got step number 1. He's prone out past her. Okay, get the out first. Where is he? Right there on the ground. Come out, man. Come out. Somebody get close.
I'll be arrested.
Come out of the room right now. Come out of the room.
Get close on. Get close on.
Keep your hands where we can see them. Come out of the room.
Come on. Come on.
All right. Keep your hands by your side. Okay, I'm moving in. I'm moving in.
Come out of the room. Get out of the way.
Can you move, ma'am?
You got gloves?
I got gloves. Let's move in. Let's cuff here. Here are my cuffs. Cuff the guy first. Ready? Rifles move past.
Keep breathing, bro. You're doing okay. You're gonna be all right, man. You're just gonna control your bleeding, okay? Just hang in there, man. That little baby needs you, bro, okay? That baby needs you. Hang in there. Hang in there, man.
But Villatoro also begged for police not to shoot Hernandez. She testified it was because she had seen too much bloodshed already. That was my baby daddy, Villatoro said. I still had my son, and I didn't want them to kill Hernandez either. Once Villatoro managed to throw Hernandez's gun out into the hallway, officers carried Hernandez out of the room and began treating his gunshot wound. She cheated on me, he said. In cross-examination, Johnson alluded to Hernandez and Villatoro previously getting in arguments about her alleged infidelity, which she denied. Paternity test results presented for the jury showed Hernandez was the newborn's father. Kevin Bonsu, an engineer living in Boston and Pokuah's brother, also took the witness stand. Bonsu said they were a family of 7 siblings. He said Pokuah came to the U.S. from Ghana in 1998 and ultimately went on to get a master's degree in social work. Pokuah lived in Mansfield and had been working as a social worker at Methodist Dallas for about a year before her death. Bonsu said she leaves behind a 13-year-old son who went to live in Ghana after his mother died. Kelly Flowers, Katie Flowers' daughter, told jurors her mom had been a nurse for 41 years and had spent 15 years working at Methodist Dallas. Katie Flowers leaves behind 3 other children and 4 grandchildren, her 30-year-old daughter said. Defense attorneys had asked jurors to consider a lesser charge, acknowledging that Hernandez opened fire, but saying he didn't mean to kill anyone. Taking the stand at the trial, Hernandez admitted to shooting the 2 women, but said it was an accident. Dallas County District Attorney John Cruzat told jurors that Hernandez went to the hospital that day with rage, resentment, anger, and a plan to kill. Prosecutor George Lewis said Hernandez was motivated by a belief that his girlfriend had cheated on him and he wasn't the baby's father. During the trial, prosecutors presented evidence that he was.
Would you state your name, please?
Nestor Hernandez.
Nestor, how old person are you?
I'm 31.
31 years old?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And could you tell this jury where you were born?
United States.
What city?
Dallas, Texas.
Okay. And where were you raised?
Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Did you go to school here in the Dallas area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you attend high school here for at least a time in the Dallas area?
Yes, sir.
And what high school was that?
WTY High School.
Nestor, I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you. I want you to speak up because I want the jury to make sure they hear everything you have to say. You didn't complete high school, is that correct?
No, sir.
Okay. Once you quit attending high school, could you give the jury an idea of what you've done for the last 15 years or so of your life?
Well, I was in prison and working.
Were you in a good mood or were you in a bad mood? What kind of mood were you in at that time?
No, I was good. I was good. I wasn't. I mean, I was about to sign a birth certificate, put that last name on it.
And tell the jury what happened once you got inside that room that changed the whole situation. Could you tell them what took place?
Okay. Well, I walked in. My son, he was asleep in the bassinet. I went in there, rubbed his belly. I was like, "Hey, little man," and so I went and I walked into the restroom. I used the restroom. I walked out. I proceeded to walk out. I started looking for the gun, right? I started looking for the gun. She was like, "What you looking for?" I said, "The gun." And she was like, "Why?" And I said, "I got it sold." I said, "I talked to dude last night. He wanted to buy it." And so she's like, "All right." So I'm on my phone also, you know what I'm saying? Like she said, she said sentimental. I don't want to sound sentimental. I'm more expressionate or something. I like telling people that, I love them and stuff. I'll drink a little bit or do some drugs. I'm like, "Hey, man, I love you, man. I'm glad you're in my life," type of thing. You got the aggressive people and then you got the lovers, I guess, or whatever. And so.
So So when you're sitting there having this conversation, could you tell the jury what it was that made her start pulling the blanket over her head and refusing to talk to you?
I don't recall her putting the blanket over her
You
head.
don't recall her pulling the blanket over her head?
No,
What
I
do you
don't.
recall happening when you were having this conversation with her?
I ended up sitting down, and I was like, man, get the gun and stuff. And so I was like, so I'm about to sign this birth certificate and leave. And so I'm texting my brother. My brother called me, and I talked to him briefly, my nieces and stuff. Well, we started talking. She tried to talk to me. I was like, shut the fuck up, don't talk to me, you know what I'm saying, woo woo. And she's like, oh no, she started, she's like, man, you're drinking and woo woo woo. And I was like, man, I don't want to hear it, man. I was like, I ain't been drinking like that. And she's like, nah, you drinking, woo woo. And I was like, man, shut up. I was like, don't even talk to me. She was like, nah, you're not supposed to be in here drinking, woo woo. I was like, don't nobody even know this is a beer. And I was like, it looks like Arizona or something. And she's like, nah, man. She's like, man, they're gonna come in here and see and whatever. And so I was like, bro, don't even talk to me, bro. I said, yeah, you really nasty. And she was like, what you mean nasty? I said, yeah, you really nasty, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, well, and I said, man, my shit hurt, bro. I'm just signing this birth certificate and I'm finna leave. I said, man, nigga, I'm burning.
Your voice is dropping a little bit. Keep it up so the jury can hear.
It's I'm like, man, it's, you know, my private areas is really fucked up. And so she's like, man, she's like, nah, man, she's like, I ain't fucking nobody, and da. And so she gets on her phone, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, you need to tell whoever you been fucking with that you got that shit, you passing out that shit. And she was,
What are you talking about?
I never had an STD before that, so I mean, I knew it was something wrong. I didn't know exactly what it was, but it was,
You knew something was wrong.
when I urinate, when I urinate, it hurts, yeah. And
So so you're talking about her messing with somebody else, telling her that she needs to tell people that she's probably giving them STDs too?
yeah, I don't know, because she ended up getting on the phone. I was like, you need to be calling them people and let them know you passing out that shit.
Okay, what happened as a result of this conversation?
You said what happened to the result?
Tell me what happened next after y'all are having this conversation.
The nurse, she walks in. So she walks in, and Selena, she gets up and she's like, hey, I need to use the restroom. So when she gets up, I get up with her.
Okay, now I'm gonna stop you right there. Prior to any of this happening right here, now you're talking about, have there been another nurse in there earlier that day that had come in and been there for a few minutes and then left? Do you recall that?
No, sir.
Okay, so when you're talking about right now, you're talking about a nurse came in, and that's when Selena wanted to go to the restroom. Are you talking about the woman that ended up getting shot?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you guys are having this conversation, it's going on. Up to that point in time, had you ever threatened that you were gonna kill Selena or kill yourself?
No, sir. No, sir.
Did you ever threaten to Selena that you were gonna kill anybody coming in that room?
No.
Did you have any intention of harming anybody?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Tell the jury what happened, and you just described how you got to the point where the nurse came in the room, Selena wants to go to the restroom. Tell the jury what happened next.
Well, she gets up and I get up with her, and she's walking. No, when the nurse came in, she said, you know, good afternoon or good evening, and I said it back. And Selena gets up and she's like, I need to use the restroom. She had told the nurse, I need to use the restroom, but I got up with her. And so I was like, why you need to go to the restroom with your phone? And she's like, because and then the nurse asked, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, everything's okay. And then she said, no, it's not. She's like, I don't want him here. This ain't even his baby. So I slapped her. So when I slapped her, the nurse was like, oh. And so then Selena hit me, and we got into like, whenever I got up, I had the pistol on me too. You know what I'm saying? I had. She ended up, before that, Selena had handed me the pistol. And so I had the pistol right here. It's a little pistol. So when I got up holding it too. And she hit me, and so, you know, I kind of like, you know, I had the pistol in my hand. I don't think the nurse knew I had the pistol in my hand. And so we got into like a little brawl or whatever, and that's when I hit her. I ended up hitting her with the pistol, and that's when the nurse the nurse, she was like, stop. She got in between us. And my shirt, the black shirt that I had on, it was already kind of like over me. It was already like, 'cause she was like putting on the shirt too. And so the gun went off. That's what.
Hey, who was pulling on your shirt?
Selena.
Okay. So you're wearing a shirt, and while you guys get into a tussle with the nurse there, she's pulling on your shirt, and you saying it's kind of bunched up now around your shoulder area?
Yeah, the shirt she was putting on, I had a black thermal shirt on.
Okay. And then you said the gun went off. Describe exactly what you mean when you say the gun went off. How did it go off?
The nurse tried to stop the fight. She got in between us, and she yelled, stop. She's like, stop. And next you know, the gun went off. And we stopped. Everything slowed down. You know, I was kind of confused for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing that Selena said, she was like, what did you do? You know, and I was like, no, man, it's your fault. This is your fault. You know what I'm saying? Because the nurse, she was kind of like leaning forward, and then she ended up falling back. Boom.
Did you intentionally shoot this nurse? Or
No.
Okay, how did she tell? Explain to the jury how it was that this nurse ended up shot.
She got in between us. Whenever me and Selena got into like a tussle and got into it, she got in between us. She yelled stop and tried to stop us.
Did you point the gun at her with any intention of shooting the gun and killing her?
No, sir.
Did you have any intention of causing harm to this nurse?
No, sir.
And you said that once you shot her, she was just kind of you said she was kind of standing there and you looked like you were crouching a little bit. What are you just trying to describe for the jury?
She leaned forward like this. Like she leaned forward like this, and then she leaned like, it all happened so slow. It went real slow, and then she just ended up falling back.
She was leaning forward and then she ended up falling back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's the next thing that you recall happening at that time?
I panicked. I panicked. I was like, shit. And Selena, she started screaming. She was like, oh, man. I couldn't even understand what she was saying. And I opened up the door, and I opened up the door, like with my right hand, I opened up the door, and I shot out the door. Boom, boom, twice. I shot out the door twice.
Did you see anybody outside the door when you shot?
No, I didn't even look outside. I just shot.
What was the purpose of that?
I was so panicked. I just shot somebody. You know what I mean? I was real panicked. It was like how can I say this? Like a example would be like if my mom or like somebody's mom has like a favorite coffee mug that she drinks coffee with every morning, and you drop it and you break it. And when you broke it, you panic. You're like, oh, and your mom's like, hey, what was that? And so you don't want her to see. You know what I mean? Like you don't want her to see. You just panic, and I try to like, I guess make another distraction or something. I wasn't I wasn't thinking right. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just wasn't.
After you opened the door and you fired the gun, did you actually see the second nurse in the hallway at that time?
No, I didn't even see the second nurse in the hallway.
So tell the jury what happened after you shot that firearm out the door.
So I went back, and the nurse laying on the floor, and she's screaming. She's like, "Oh my gosh!" And so it's all hectic. I'm kind of panicking. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I'm like shit. And so Selena, she said, "Get help." And so I turned around. When I turned around, I walked out the door. I tried to walk out the door. I felt the heat just through my leg. Boom. And I stepped back. I jumped back into the room, and I looked down, and I was like, they shot me. I was like, damn, they shot me. You know what I'm saying? And so I went back into the room, and I called my mom. And she answered the phone, and she was like, yeah. And I was like, hey, man. I just shot somebody, man. I think I just killed somebody, man. She's laying on the floor. And my mom, she's like, what? And then she's like, tell me you're playing. I was like, no, I'm not. And so I hung up the phone. I called my little brother. And he's like, hey. And I was like, hey, man, I'm shot. And he's like, what? And I was like, man, I'm shot. They're about to come in here and shoot. They're about to kill me, man. And he's like, what? He's like, I don't understand. He's like, hey. And I was like, man, they're going to kill me, man. I was like, they're going to kill me. They already shot me. And so by now, Selena has the baby. She had grabbed the baby at this time. and she's holding the baby, and I'm like, hey, give me the baby, give me the baby. And she was like, no, no. And I'm like, give me the baby, man. I was like, man, give me the baby, man. Give me the baby. Put him in the crib. Because the crib, the bassinet, is by the restroom. And so I'm thinking, I was like, man, look, they're about to come in here and start shooting, man. They're about to shoot us. And she's like, no, no,
What
no.
were you asking her to give you the baby for?
I wanted to put him in the bassinet and put him by the restroom. Because I was like, man, they about to come in. They already shot me. They about to come in here and start shooting.
What happened at that point in time?
I started feeling the pain. At first, I didn't feel the pain, but now I'm feeling it. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, And so I went around the bed. I don't know if I sat down in the closet or I sat down in front of the closet. And I was like, shit. And Selina's like, she steady screaming. And she's like, what the fuck? This lady, she right there. I was like, man, shut up. I was like, shut up. So I'm like, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, man. I said, man, I'm about to just go out there. I'm gonna just let them kill me, man. I said, and she was like, what? I was like, I'm not going back. And I was like, I'm not finna spend the rest of my life in jail. And she's like, what? I was like, man, I'm finna just let them kill me, man. They already shot me. And she started screaming. She screamed my name. She said, Nestor. And then she held up my son, and she was like, he needs you. And I was like, man, shit, man. I was like, nah, man. I was like, I can't go back, man. And so I try to get up. And so when I try to get up, before that, I hear the officer. He said something. I couldn't understand what he said. And I was like, I can't hear you. Because she's screaming. My little brother was still on the phone. And he's like, Nestor. He's like, Nestor, hey, man, don't hurt the baby. And I was like, nah. And so I'm like, man, I'm finna just go out there. I'm finna let him kill me. So Selena, she was like, no. And so when she said no, I tried to get up. And when I tried to get up, it was kind of hard to get up. So I'm trying to get up. And I was like, I'm shot. And she didn't know I was shot at the time, but now she knew then because she put my baby down. She's like, you're shot. And I was like, I'm shot, man. I'm already shot. And so I was like, man, I'm finna just go out there, man. I was like, man, because in my mind, I thought it was like 15 cops out there and ready. The cops in there, they gonna kill you. And
Where was the gun at this point in time, Nestor?
I still had it in my hand.
Okay. How did that gun subsequently end up out in the hallway?
She was telling me not to go out there. She's like, no. She's like, don't go out there. She's like, man. I was like, man, I'm finna go out. She's like, why are you going to do this? And I'm like, man, I was like, I don't want to go back to jail, bro. I ain't trying to go back to prison. I already spent most of my youth in there. And she's like, man, he needs you. And so she's like, he needs you. And I was like, all right, man, all right. And after that, I fell. From what I remember, I fell, and that was it. I blanked out. The rest of the stuff that on the video, with me being in the hallway, and I didn't even know I had said she cheated on me. I also said, I heard myself say, call my mom, and I screamed out my brother's name too on the video. But other than that, I don't remember nothing else. I woke up at Baylor Hospital like 2 days later, and that's when I learned that Miss Flowers was also. I didn't even know she was dead.
Did you? Okay, you said that you woke up in the hospital and you found out at that point in time that 2 people had died as a result of this incident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And one of those being Miss Jacqueline Pakua that had come into the room originally, as well as Katie Flowers, who was the nurse that was injured when you discharged that weapon out into the hallway. You understand that now?
Yes, sir.
And until we actually showed you videos, your memory as to exactly what took place in regards to the exact timing was a little bit off, wasn't it?
Excuse me?
You that reminded you, or that brought back to light some of the things that had occurred.
Oh, on the videos? Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So you talked about it, and again, Nestor, what you told this jury is you did not intentionally or knowingly kill these ladies, did you?
No, I would never do that.
And you understand that as you sit here and as you offer this explanation to the jury, they have to decide whether or not to believe any of your testimony. Understand that?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell them why it is that you believe that your testimony today is worthy of belief?
Because it's the truth, you know. It's just what happened. And, I'm not going to sit here and hide and try to say that I'm innocent, you know what I'm saying, because we're not.
But you understand, and we've explained to you, there's a difference between shooting and killing somebody and knowing they're intentionally or causing their death by your reckless actions. You understand that?
Yes, sir. I never intended. I never intended to kill nobody, hurt nobody. No, I didn't.
But you do take full responsibility for causing their deaths.
Yes, I do. I do take responsibility. I'm not here to fight for my innocence.
You woke up in the hospital 2 days later. Can you tell the jury how long you were in the hospital?
I want to say I was in the hospital like 4 days. About 4 days in the hospital.
And subsequent to that, you were taken into custody at Dallas County Sheriff's Department. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Hernandez's girlfriend, Selena Villatoro, testified that he accused her of infidelity and hit her with a pistol. She said he threatened to kill her, himself and anyone who came into the room, and when Pokua then entered, Hernandez shot her. Nestor Hernandez, 31, was found guilty of capital murder in the October 2022 shooting deaths of Jacqueline Pokua, 45, a social worker, and Katie Annette Flowers, 63, a nurse at Methodist Dallas Medical Center. He received an automatic sentence of life without the possibility of parole. Prosecutors didn't seek the death penalty. Criminal District Court Judge Chica Enium ordered Nestor Hernandez to serve a sentence of life without the possibility of parole for the slayings of social worker Jacqueline Pokua and nurse Katie Annette Flowers, authorities announced. Judge Enium handed down the mandatory sentence after a Dallas County jury found Hernandez guilty of capital murder for the October 2022 shooting. At the time this crime occurred, I vowed to see that justice was done, and I am satisfied to say that's what we've accomplished. Dallas County Criminal District Attorney John Cruzat said in a statement. I say this knowing that justice is no replacement for these 2 innocent lives lost, nor does it repair the trauma inflicted on the staff, officers, and other families at the hospital on that tragic day. However, we have ensured that Mr. Hernandez will die in prison. Family members read victim impact statements. You will rot in a prison cell until, hopefully, you have a long, drawn-out, painful death and face the hell you have coming, one of Flowers' nieces said. You will live in a cell where your short, fat self will undoubtedly be made someone else's special friend, where every day they will have their way with you. Unfortunately for them, if the photos of your toddler-sized shoes have anything to say with it, they will be disappointed. Rot in hell. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Human Wreckage. That family statement sums it all up. What makes people do things like this? We might never know. Please subscribe and like our stuff. Take care of yourselves. Thank you.